NFL head coach Eric Mangini on what he sees from Deshaun Watson entering the 2023 season. This from the 33rdteam.com.
The biggest storyline on offense for the Cleveland Browns is easily Deshaun Watson. And what's amazing to me is there's so much conversation about Aaron Rodgers, who's 39 years old, and Russell Wilson, who's 35 years old, and very little talk about Deshaun Watson, who's going to be 28 years old during the course of the season. And they're all really in the same bucket. They're all veteran quarterbacks that have had incredible success in the past and now are trying to get back to that form. And the great thing for Deshaun Watson is where he falls in this discussion. He's not really part of it, so he doesn't have the same pressure that the other two guys have. And when you look at what he did his last year in Houston, his last time as a full-time starter, he had 112 quarterback rating. He had 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He had a 70% completion rate, which are amazing numbers. And now he's 6 games with the Browns. He got to play through the system late in the season. He's had a full off season. He's a year removed from all of the off the field problems that he had, and he has limited expectations, which positions himself to be in the best spot of those 3 guys to make a huge jump.
With that, let's welcome in Tyler Johnson from the Faithful Dogs Podcast as well as Network 216. I agree with Eric Mangini. Everybody talks about Watson and Rodgers and Wilson. Watson's in the prime of his career. Both those other guys are on the other side of it. They may be good, but they're on the other side of their prime.
Yeah, I mean, very good quarterbacks, as you mentioned, but Deshaun Watson's only going to be 28 years old. And if we look back just at his previous stats when he was with the Texans, he was consistently proving that he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And the only reason that last year he played so poorly, again, everything was against him. He was dealing with a lot off the field, of course. He was learning a brand new system. But also on top of that, the offense itself was trying to learn a new system right when Deshaun Watson was coming back to quarterback the offense. It was just a lot in that short amount of time. And keep in mind, Deshaun Watson not playing for nearly 2 years. Of course, he's going to be rusty in that situation. I think the one thing about Mangini, I would say, is that Deshaun Watson's expectations, he really does have to come out and perform. I agree, though, it's a little different than Rodgers and some of these other veteran quarterbacks. But, yeah, Deshaun Watson still has a lot of expectations on him. And I know that there's a lot of expectations for him to carry this Browns team to the playoffs because ultimately, if that doesn't happen, that could be what ends up costing Kevin Stefanski his job if the Browns don't end up making the playoffs this year. Remains to be seen, but a lot of expectation on Deshaun Watson. But Eric Mangini makes a great point. No one talks about Watson, and I think that might be good that no one talks about him because it just gives him that opportunity to prove people wrong.
Yeah, nationally, the expectations, as we've seen throughout it, much to the chagrin and anger of Browns fans, nationally nobody expects as much. Locally, everybody that looks at this expects this to be a playoff team that has a chance to win the division, I think.